Welcome to Whisper Tales, where every whisper hides a nightmare. 99% of you guys are just watching but not subscribing. If you love spine-chilling horror stories that keep you up at night, then hit subscribe and join our dark journey, because the next tale might be about you.
Atlanta nights were quiet this time of year. Rain tapped the streets like slow applause, and the Target Superstore off E285 glowed faintly under the misty sky, its red bullseye logo dull behind fogged glass. The store was massive, built to replace a demolished shopping mall. It stretched across several city blocks, but according to the official blueprints, it had only 2 floors, the main level and the underground loading dock. Jared Moore, 38, janitor, ex-con, worked the graveyard shift. He liked the silence. No customers, no music, just hums and echoes and the soft glide of his mop. It was 2:44 a.m. when he first noticed it. An elevator at the back of the home decor section, wedged between an emergency exit and a fire extinguisher case. That alone was weird. He'd cleaned this store for 2 years and had never seen an elevator there. It was old, brass frame, manual sliding gate, no Target branding. The button panel inside was dusty, the kind that should have been updated decades ago. Jared stepped closer. No labeled buttons, just a keyhole and a faint red glow coming from inside the crack in the doors. He turned away. Probably an old lift from the mall days. Nothing for him to touch. But when he turned his back, he swore. He heard his name. Jared. He whipped around. Empty. Still, the hairs on his neck were up. He went back to mopping. Tried to shake it. But by 3 a.m., he was back at the elevator. This time, the gate was slightly open. He hadn't touched it. Inside, a single button now glowed, an unmarked circle, like the center of a target. He looked around. No cameras in this section. Curiosity won. Jared stepped in. The gate clanged shut behind him with a metallic snap. No key, no labels, just that one glowing button. He pressed it. The elevator jerked violently, then began to descend. He expected it to stop at the loading dock, but the numbers on a tiny mechanical dial above the door ticked past B1, then B2, then B3, B0, then stopped. The doors slid open. Cold air rushed in, metallic, stale. The hallway beyond was not lit like the rest of Target. No red signs, no display racks, just long, dim corridors lit by flickering fluorescent bulbs and old linoleum floors that hadn't seen a mop in decades. Jared stepped out. Hello? No answer. The corridor stretched left and right, and he noticed something even more bizarre. Shelves full of mannequins. Dozens of them, arranged like shoppers, pushing carts, inspecting invisible products. All stark white. All facing the opposite direction. The stillness was suffocating. He walked past them, heart pounding. Every step echoed too loud. He passed one aisle labeled seasonal, but the mannequins inside were wearing no clothes, just Target badges with names scribbled in pen. One said, Jared. He stopped, backed away. This is a prank, he whispered. Some freaky employee game. He turned to leave, but behind him, one of the mannequins had turned its head. He froze. Its eyes were hollow, but the head was tilted, like it was listening. Then, somewhere deeper in the floor, he heard it. Chanting. Low, rhythmic. Repeating his name like a prayer. Jared. 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 He ran. Back through the hall, toward the elevator. But the elevator was gone. Just a wall now. And in its place, 3 mannequins stood, arms raised in a gesture that looked disturbingly like worship. Then all the others began to turn. One by one, their faces looked toward him, blank, yet somehow full of hunger. The The chanting grew louder. "Jared!" He backed into a corner, heart slamming his ribs. Then, from behind the mannequins, a new figure emerged, taller, dressed in a Target manager's uniform, but his face was porcelain white. Not a mannequin, not a man, something in between. It smiled. "Welcome to the floor below," it said. Jared screamed, and the mannequin stepped forward. Jared didn't remember running, just the sound of his boots slapping the linoleum as he fled deeper into the unseen gut of the store. The hallway twisted unnaturally, as though the architecture had been designed by a lunatic with a grudge against symmetry. The mannequins followed, their plastic limbs clicking faintly against the tile. No breathing, no footfalls, just the click, click, click of joints that weren't supposed to move. "This isn't real," he muttered, gripping his mop handle like a weapon. "This has to be a dream." He stumbled into a break room, or what used to be a break room. The plastic chairs were warped, melted. The vending machine displayed impossible items, bags of teeth, a beating heart sealed in plastic, bottled shadows. On the wall, an old employee board showed pictures of smiling workers. They all had names like Jared Moore, custodian; Jared M., logistics; J. Moore, returns; Jared, visual merchandiser. Every face was his. Different expressions, different ages, some older, some younger. One picture was blacked out completely with marker, but beneath it the name still read, Original Jared. His knees weakened. He heard it again, the manager's voice echoing like a whisper, threaded into the walls. "Every floor needs a custodian, Jared. Every world, a cleaner." No, 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 this is a prank. I'm not... He turned to leave. The door had vanished. The walls shifted in place, replacing the hallway with another room. This one was identical to the break room upstairs. He recognized the crooked Employee of the Month plaque and the dented microwave. Except, the microwave's reflection in the break room mirror was wrong. It was cleaner. The plaque read a different name. Jared M., 23 years of service. Then the reflection moved, but Jared hadn't. He stared at the mirror. His reflection smiled at him, then whispered, "I'm doing better than you." Suddenly the reflection lunged, slamming into the glass. Jared jumped back, heart hammering. A crack spiderwebbed across the mirror. Blood, his blood, leaked from it, trickling down like tears. Behind him, the mannequins were arriving, their arms raised, their mouths open, not in smiles, but in silent screams. Jared ran again. Hallways bent in impossible ways. Stairs climbed downward. Elevators led sideways. He passed a nursery aisle, where cribs held mannequin infants that twitched. He passed a dressing room, where reflections moved independently of the person. He passed a loss prevention office, filled with monitors showing himself, from hundreds of different angles, wearing different uniforms, cleaning different stores. "You've been here longer than you think," the manager's voice said calmly. A figure stepped out from the darkness. Another Jared. Identical. Except this one's eyes were dull, resigned, his skin gray. His target badge said, Jared M., floor below. "Go back," the other Jared said softly, "before you forget who you are." "What is this place?" Jared demanded. "The truth," his double said. "A reflection of everything they built on top. Target isn't a store, it's a signal, a gate. Every one of them connects to here, to us, to you. I'm not staying here. You already are. You were just above temporarily. That was your shift. Now it's someone else's." The other Jared began to dissolve into dust, plastic shavings and fabric threads, unraveling like a forgotten doll. Jared fell to his knees. No. He looked at his hands. They were still flesh, but there were cracks forming, like plastic stress lines. I have to get out. He crawled into an adjacent hallway, illuminated by red emergency lights. Ahead, the elevator, the one that brought him down. It was open. Jared ran. As he neared it, the mannequins turned toward him. This time, they didn't chase. They bowed, their heads lowered as he passed. Inside the elevator was a mirror. And inside the mirror, he saw himself standing in the real store, mopping the floor. It wasn't a reflection. It was a window. The new Jared, the reflection, smiled and turned away, heading toward the front of the store. That's my life. He's living my life. He pounded on the glass. No, let me out! Behind him, the manager spoke again, software almost gentle. Only one Jared per store, that's the rule. Jared turned. The manager stepped closer. He was tall, dressed in a perfectly pressed red polo. His badge read only, manager. But his face was featureless, smooth porcelain, a blank mannequin shell. You were a good janitor, the manager said. Efficient, quiet. But this one, he'll be better. Less curious. Please, Jared whispered. I don't want to stay here. You already do. The manager raised a hand. Jared felt something enter him, like cold glue poured into his spine. He screamed. Plastic veins rose on his arms. His joints cracked into stiff hinges. His mouth opened, but no sound came. Welcome to the floor below, the manager said again. Your shift begins now. The elevator doors closed, and Jared? He was left standing in the hallway, mop in hand, skin like plastic, eyes like glass. Another mannequin added to the collection, another echo in the store that shouldn't exist. Jared had no memory of how long he'd been there. Time flowed strangely on the hidden floor beneath the Target Superstore in Atlanta. The fluorescent lights never flickered, the red paint never dried, and the mannequins, now his only companions, had begun calling him by name. Not with mouths, with whispers that seemed to come from the walls. Jared! He would have cried, but tears no longer came. His skin had turned cold and artificial. His arms moved stiffly, every motion a reminder that whatever animated his limbs now wasn't human biology. He still looked like Jared, but only in the way a store dummy might resemble a customer. Worse, he was beginning to forget. He found post-it notes stuck around a supply closet he assumed once belonged to him. Sloppy handwriting, familiar but fading. Your name is Jared Moore. You had a mom. She called every Sunday. Don't trust the manager. Don't drink the red water. He'd ignored the last one once. He wouldn't do it again. Every day, or what felt like days, the mannequins would gather near the mirror room, the heart of the hidden floor. It was massive, like a showroom, but with no real items. Just mirrored walls, like a carnival maze. Some mirrors showed reflections, others showed different versions of the store above. He once saw a version where the ceiling was the floor and customers crawled on all fours. Another showed a burned-out Target where shadows moved behind charred shelves.